Well, good evening, class. My name is Jessica Pollock, and I'm going to be presenting on Chapter 24, which is Other New Technologies. There is a PowerPoint presentation that you can follow along with very easily that's been dropped in, so feel free to pop that open as we continue through this chapter overview. So the first thing that we're going to touch on is virtual, augmented, and mixed reality. Virtual reality is where everything is make-believe. Augmented is where there are virtual objects that are laid on top of real objects. They're like little suspended movies, but you can't interact with them. And then mixed is a good mix of both, hence why they're called mixed. All of these technologies require you to have some kind of headset. So virtual reality, this type of system provides a 360-degree video experience, allowing the user to be able to track hand and body movements. It really brings new excitement, especially to the gaming industry. And some of the systems that have adopted virtual reality are Facebook's Oculus Rift and Samsung's virtual reality gear and Sony PlayStation. Virtual reality has become so popular that there is actually a festival dedicated to virtual reality, where you go and you get to experience different types of these experiences at a 2 or 3 day festival. One that is most well known for is the Kaleidoscope Virtual Reality Festival. So augmented reality, this is a type of technology that's kind of been around for a while. It's similar to virtual reality in that it's primarily used for gaming, but augmented has some practical applications as well. We've seen that some furniture stores have adopted augmented reality, which allows the potential purchaser to be able to place the furniture that they're looking at within their home, just to get a feel for what it would look like. It's also being looked at as options for science. NASA has been able to use augmented reality in an effort to study the conditions on Mars, and this is particularly useful because then they are able to know what the experience would feel like once they actually deployed and were on mission. One of the other major developments within augmented reality has been the Samsung contact lenses. These lenses have cameras, movement sensors, display units, and even a transmitter. Me particularly, I don't know if I want all of that in my eye, but that's pretty cool. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is drones, and drones are basically aircraft that are flown remotely. They can be up to any size, from as small as a GoPro to as large as an aircraft. What's great about drones is that they can go where people can't. So this is particularly useful in natural disasters or oil spills, where the persons and rescuers are trying to get a full sense of what's going on in the area. And they can use a drone to be able to get the full picture. Businesses that primarily use drones a lot are the agriculture, public safety, and media. And the federal government in the U.S., has to regulate drone usage. You can imagine that privacy and safety are major concerns. It's very unethical to be able to spy on your neighbor, but public safety is at the utmost of importance, especially from an airport and airplane standpoint. You don't want these other types of aircraft flying around that are illegally doing so and that are not authorized to do so. It is a big safety concern. The next thing that we're going to talk about is the sharing economy, and Benita Matosavka of The People Who Share defines the sharing economy as a socioeconomic ecosystem built around the sharing of human, physical, and intellectual resources. It includes the sharing creation, production, distribution, trade, and consumption of goods and services by different people and organizations. So in this case, sharing doesn't mean money exchange, but it's rather a sharing of assets or goods. So some of the examples of a sharing economy are Airbnb, Uber, and Dog Vacay. There are setbacks, of course, and opposing views to this sharing economy type mindset. I know particularly in the Cayman Islands, we have specific laws about the licensing of tourism accommodations, and a lot of persons are using Airbnb without being licensed to operate, and it's something that the government has worked tirelessly to try to work with Airbnb in order to make sure that everybody is compliant within the current law. The next thing that we're going to talk about is mobile commerce and virtual currency. So e-commerce is defined as a transaction over computer mediated network that involves a transfer of ownership or the rights to use goods or services. So mobile commerce now is the use of a mobile device to purchase a good or services. So areas where we're going to see something like mobile commerce and virtual currency is mobile banking and Apple Pay. It's very convenient to be able to do all of your banking from your mobile phone now, and it's able to make even easier to make purchases for your over using your cell phone. We predominantly live in a world where our cell phones are permanently attached to us, so wouldn't it be that much more convenient to be able to make purchases and do your banking from your phone? And that kind of wraps up my presentation here today. There's a few questions that I'd like to pose to everyone that I look forward to your responses, but what issues do you see from a safety standpoint with sharing economies like Airbnb? As I discussed, there are issues in the Cayman Islands with regards to Airbnb and the sharing economy, and then those persons wanting to utilize Airbnb and having them licensed to operate. What do you see from a safety standpoint that could be an issue for a sharing economy? And the second question, which actually ties into a third, is there opportunity for churches to use virtual reality to bring souls to Christ? And if you do think that there are opportunities, what innovative ways could they do that? Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed my presentation.